Hello everyone, so Ganttalot back here again, and this time the video is a little bit shorter than some of the others, but it's again one in the series of helping you prepare to take your PMP exam, Project Management Professional. However, you can also look at this video after you've qualified and got your certification. It's one of the ways that you can get PDUs. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. Okay, so the topic here is how can you calculate the number of lines of communication, sometimes referred to as communication links or communication channels, within a project organization. This topic is one that's addressed in part by the concept of project communications management, which is a chapter or a knowledge area in the PMBOK guide, a guide to the project management body of knowledge, the book that you will be studying in preparation for your PMP exam. Now, in addition, of course, to preparing for the exam, it's important on a real project when planning your communication needs to fully understand how many stakeholders you have, and equally importantly, how those stakeholders are structured into groups. Because amongst other things, all of that helps you determine how many communication links, how many communication channels or lines of communication there are between those stakeholders and stakeholder groups. That is a key input into planning your communication needs. Okay, so let's illustrate all of this by considering a team. And we'll start with a team of 5 people. Now, with a team of 5 people, any one of them might need to communicate with any of the others. For example, the person at the top may need to communicate with the person on the left there. But that person at the top may need to communicate with all of the others or any one of the others. So we can sketch out those communication links there. Now let's turn to the person on the left. Now we've already shown the link to and from that person and the person at the top, but that person may also need to communicate with any one of the others. Again, we can sketch out those links. Let's look at the person at the bottom. Well, we've got 2 of the links already showing, but that person may also need to communicate with the remaining 2. And that just leaves the 2 people on the right. All of their links are shown with the exception of the link between one another. Once you've drawn out all those links, if you count them up, there will be 10 links. And in fact, there are 10 links. You can count them on the screen there. Okay, well, let's think about planning communication needs for a project or answering an exam on the PMP. In addition to, of course, being able to do it by sketching out the links, there is a formula that makes things a little bit easier. And the formula is as follows, where n is the number of people. So in the example we just saw, with a team of 5 people, n would be 5. So n minus 1, 5 minus 1 would be 4. 5 times 4 is 20. Divide that by 2, and there are 10 communication links. Well, that's interesting in itself, I guess, but let's do something even more interesting and enlightening. Let's consider if we add 2 people to that team. Now, of course, the formula would be 7 times 7 minus 1 divided by 2. 7 times 6 is 42, divide by 2, and we get 21. And that is interesting because in this scenario, simply adding 2 people more than doubles the number of communication links. And of course, that has a big bearing on your communication needs on a real project. Okay, let's think about how a question might come up on the exam. Well, firstly, read it carefully. Even in a simple situation like this, you might think, well, I'll just plug the numbers into the formula. But be careful, read the question. If 5 people report to the project manager, that means we're talking about 6 people altogether. So therefore the formula would be 6 times 5 divided by 2, or 15. Now there's a possibility that you might get a relatively complicated question. If so, don't panic. Just read it. Take your time to read it. I'm going to give you some time to read this question, but you can always pause the video and spend longer. Okay, for the sake of staying within my time limit, let's move on. But again, if you need to spend more time reading that, just pause. But let's see how we could address that. Well, I would suggest sketching it out in stages. So the scenario said that there were teams of 4 people reporting to a team lead. So 4 people reporting to a team lead means 5 people in each team. And as we've seen before, a team of 5 means that there are 10 links for that team within that team. And the scenario said that there were 3 teams altogether. So that means 30 links within those teams altogether. But the question also said that those teams report to a project manager, and that the project manager is the mechanism by which the teams communicate between one another. They do so via the project manager. So let's add in 3 additional links between the project manager and each of those teams. So that means that the total number of potential links in this scenario is 33. Now, in addition, of course, to answering questions on the exam, all of this matters in the real world. And in fact, you might recall that there's a topic that you addressed as part of your studies for your exam, and if you haven't addressed that already, you will be doing, which is this concept of crashing a project schedule. It comes up in project time management. Now, crashing is one form of schedule compression. The other one, by the way, is called fast tracking. But crashing a schedule is all about focusing on critical path activities and aiming to reduce their duration. Because, of course, if you reduce the duration of the critical path, you reduce the duration of your project. Now, the ways that you reduce or plan to reduce the duration is by adding resources, adding more people to get the work done quicker, or just getting better or more efficient, faster working resources. Now, both of those things, of course, will cost you money, but more significantly, remember, adding resources increases the number of communication channels, as we've just seen, quite considerably in some cases. So it could be that because of all that extra communicating that's going on, the reduction in duration may not be as much as you'd hoped for in the first place. Okay, well, that's it for this video. I have other videos loaded on YouTube to help you prepare for the exam. However, if you already have a certification through the PMI, Project Management Institute, you can get PDUs under the self-directed learning concept for looking at and studying my videos. If you study a video, let's say 10 minutes, and then spend an extra 10 minutes just practicing some of the topics raised or concepts raised, then that's 20 minutes. For every hour of self-directed learning, you get 1 PDU. So watch 3 videos, practice the concepts contained in them, and that's a PDU, and it doesn't cost you anything. However, please do click on my advertisers and take a look at some of those sponsors and ads. You might also be interested in another video I've loaded onto YouTube, which discusses my rapid rollout methodology for project risk management, which I developed recently. You can actually get hold of a handbook for that, relatively inexpensively, a small handbook from any of the outlets you see there. Lulu.com is the cheapest, and you can get it in paperback or electronic format. Just search for Sir Ganttalot. Having a copy of the handbook constitutes a license to use that methodology. Shortly, I'll be launching some live and online training classes. Just watch for me loading a video to announce those. If you subscribe to my channel, you'll be notified when new videos get loaded. As mentioned, take a look at my sponsors. If you need direct support for project management, consulting services, mentoring services, or even project management or risk management specialists or training, reach out to Westall Murray International and we can help you out. So again, all the best of luck preparing for your exam, and thanks for watching this video.